We're back here at the scene of the fire that we had yesterday here at 1410 Southwest Taylor, the May Apartments. As we all know, it went to a fourth alarm. We were able to mitigate the situation fairly successfully, getting all residents out. And we operated a fire watch operation all night long, running a couple master streams. We're now pulling that away as the last hot spot that was emanating smoke earlier today has been hit by water and cooled, and it appears we've got the fire completely extinguished. This morning, the city engineer entered the structure, or evaluated the structure, I should say, and it has been red tagged. That means there will be no civilian entry as we move forward. The two buildings to the south of us that we were able to save, Portland Fire and Rescue has escorted individuals into their apartments to gather personal belongings one at a time today. We've had them in there for a maximum of 5 minutes because this building is of imminent concern to collapse. This is an unreinforced masonry building that was effectively being held together by the floors. These floors are now extremely damaged and affected by both fire, flame, and water. So there's a heavy concern, or a significant concern, we could lose this building at any time. In fact, when we're just flowing water gently on one side of the building, we make sure everybody on the other side of the building is away. It's that perilous. If you walk around and look at the 14th side, you can see the walls bulging pretty significantly. Our investigation, our forensic investigation, will begin Friday afternoon. We are going to be utilizing the assistance of a mutual aid partner, Scappoose Fire. One of their chiefs is a licensed drone operator and is able to fly in the city of Portland. He actually flew for us yesterday. He took a larger drone, went pretty high, and it was able to give us infrared readings of where the hot spots in the fire were. And we were able to redirect our master streams to get those hot spots because we just didn't have eyes available at the end of the ladders to direct us. It was a little bit of flowing water blindly, and that gave us some eyes in the sky that allowed us to successfully, get through the fire scene at a quicker pace. He has a smaller drone that we're going to take into the area of believed fire start, incipiency, if you will, and they're going to fly the drone around and see if we can determine anything from the imagery that is gathered in that process. He will be able to put together 3D images of the room as it sits, so we'll be able to come back and really look at a good model on the computer, have it rotated around in color, so that we can have a real good idea. It's as if it is as if we're there. Now, if it is determined we need to make entry and move things around, the city engineer is not happy, but he has permitted one person from Portland Fire's fire investigation unit to enter the structure through a window to gain access to where we believe the area of origin is. And a caveat to that is we will have our technical rescue team, our structural collapse specialists on hand in the event we do have an event that necessitates their services. So there's a lot going into it as we move forward. The fire building is still under the control of Portland Fire and Rescue and will remain in our control until we have determined cause or are unable to determine cause, and we'll turn the building over to Bureau of Development Services and the owner, at which time they will move forward with the plans that they are putting together with regard to the structure. As I said, the city engineer is incredibly concerned about this structural damage and will be making recommendations, but in the end, it's the owner's building, and the owner can determine what occurs. If it is determined that it is a threat to the safety of the community and the citizens, there will be encouraging processes to go through to have the building taken down. But again, that is out of my jurisdiction or domain, and that will ultimately lie in a conversation with the building owner and Bureau of Development Services. Right now, I believe we're acquiring fencing to maintain a higher level of security. As you can see, we have fairly soft entry, and people can enter if they so choose. And because of the damage that could occur as a result of a structural collapse, I believe that there will be fencing ordered and to further secure the area. The footprint that we have here now is probably what it will remain until at least Saturday. We will have this street blocked off, Taylor at 15th, between 15th and 13th. We will have 14th blocked off between Salmon and, well, I guess it's just going to be here at Taylor, but there's no access. So effectively, between Taylor and whatever is to the north of us, which I don't know, will also be inaccessible for vehicular traffic. But you will be able to walk and visit the store here on the corner if that's something that you need to do. PG&E cut power right here where we're standing. They rerouted power across the street, so Tercey's, the soccer store, is now with electricity. The only area that's without electricity is this particular block, our fire building, the two saved buildings to the south, and then downstream traffic of all the Peabot lights. They are currently affected by this interruption of power service. So, few little bits of information about the fire. Our firefighter that went to the hospital with a cardiac condition was released in 5 hours, is home, he is stable, and he is cleared to return to work. So it was a matter of heavy exertion and elevated blood pressure that was able to be changed at the hospital and at his house. So we've got that going on. And the other firefighter that was injured with the piece of glass, as I said yesterday, he went right back to work. I used to work with that guy in the back of a fire engine, and he's an animal. So I never was worried about coming out of a structure when I went into a structure with that guy. So you want him on your fence, we have him in our fence. He's one of the people you really need in a situation like that. Any questions? Anything I can address? Jenny?
Why Friday? Why are you bringing in Skip-Moose Friday and not tomorrow?
I am unaware of the timeline and delay. I don't know why there's a delay there.
How likely is it that you're going to have to put somebody in that building? You guys are already kind of talking about it. So what's the likelihood?
I think it's just making sure we've established a plan so once we start, we're able to proceed rather than get to that spot. We've got these 3D images. Oh, shoot. Now we need to get in there. I mean, this is not the first rodeo for our fire investigations unit. They're well seasoned at establishing contingency plans, as we are as a fire bureau. I mean, we have 150 years of experience establishing contingency plans to make sure that if this doesn't work, we're going to do this and then this and then this. So that's just kind of the nature of how we operate. I don't know why there's a delay and why we're beginning Friday, but I'm certain that putting a plan in place to put someone in the structure is just, what if this doesn't work? What do we need to do? No fire cause has been ruled out. Simply, we haven't had a chance to go in and investigate. Everything is on the table with our investigations unit when they begin investigating a fire. I can tell you that our fire investigations unit is going to investigate any possible mechanism for a start of a fire. I cannot confirm that there is an arson investigation. It is a fire investigation, and this is an open and active investigation and will continue to be so until they close it, however they close it.
What have you guys done about the roof? Sorry. Go ahead. Sorry. No, you go.
No, just to clarify, so you said folks are coming into neighboring buildings in small spurts of time for retreat belongings.
Yeah.
Has anybody been escorted into the
No, there will be no civilian entry into 1410 Southwest Taylor. That has been, this building is red marked, red tagged. The only person that we will put in is one person who is an investigator under certain circumstances at the guidance of the city engineer and his education and knowledge. The UAS will go in on Friday afternoon. Yeah. So what the drone will do, the UAS, and I believe, as I think back, I think I know why it's a Friday start, and I'll get to that in a second. So they have the ability to upload data and imagery of the area with which they're flying through their cameras, and then that work will be modeled into a computer program that will allow our investigators to toggle around as if they are standing in the room and see exactly what is presenting. And they do a tremendous amount of their information through visual searches. They'll be able to look at a wall and see smoke patterns and be able to tell you that is the location of the fire because of the pattern of smoke and condition of that wall. I know that based on my history. So they'll be able to obtain all that information by flying a small drone, a UAS, into the room. So, however, if as a result of the master streams pushing floor material down from elevated floors or altering anything inside this area that they believe the fire started, there may be a need to go in and actually physically manipulate the materials inside the room. I think Friday, as I think about it, Scappoose Fire Chief is a drone operator in the state of Oregon and permitted to fly in the city of Portland because he's not a city of Portland employee. So he's permitted to utilize his public safety position to fly this UAS. So we have utilized his services because we don't have the opportunity as Portland employees to fly these drones. So we rely on our mutual aid partner there. He currently is teaching a class out at Powell Butte to the region for other public safety officers, individuals from the Water Bureau and other bureaus on drone operation and how they can utilize it for their own benefit. That's why he came into the fire yesterday. He was located at Powell Butte and just diverted over here and provided us some exceptional assistance and guidance. His class is running until Friday. I'm assuming he's running the class, and then he's going to come and just take off one pair of shoes and put on another. He's actually going to put one drone away and pull out the other. The drone he flew yesterday was size of a roasted chicken, and he's going to fly the cheeseburger size on Friday, right? It's much smaller.
Going back to some basic info, Rick, how many units? I've heard 40, I've heard 60, how many?
I made an error on the 60. There
Okay.
are 42 units in this structure. I spoke with residents at a sister building yesterday, and we calculated floors and footprints, and so I quickly multiplied by 4, carried my 2, I got to 60. I was wrong. There's 42 units in this building. They're probably up to close to 100 residents.
Okay, and how many escaped?
We believe all individuals were out of the building. We physically removed some on our own. We encouraged others to leave. We were here for 7 hours yesterday and have been here today and have yet have somebody come running down the street and say, I'm missing someone. So all clues lead us to believe that our actions on the fire ground were successful at removing everybody from the structure.
But how many do you remember, do you know of removing? Do you have a hard number on that?
Do I have a hard number on?
Of how many people did get out?
No.
Okay, and
No.
what is you guys' work between the property management or the ownership group and confirming everybody was out? Do you have some kind of system?
We
that helps
don't have
do
a
that?
mechanism in place for that. The Red Cross came in and they provided assistance. They've opened up a shelter for these individuals, and I don't know if they are actively trying to tally, but we do not have a system in place here to account for everybody. Now, if we had increased fire and we had people coming up indicating we're missing people, we would enact a plan to make efforts to go get people. But we just don't have that happen.
Do we know for sure if any pets were lost? We kind of.
There was an individual that came this morning, said, my cats got out of my hand yesterday when I was leaving, and he had his cat carrier, and he wasn't able to go in the building. I don't see any cats on the outside. So I'm assuming, unfortunately, we probably did lose some pets in this.
Portland police arrested a former third-floor resident of this building yesterday afternoon. Have you spoken to that man?
No, I have not. I have not had any interaction. I've had interaction with our fire investigations unit. I'm assuming they have had interactions with him, but they tell me what they want to tell me. And if you want to play cards with somebody, if you find out they're a fire investigator, just get away from the table. They're going to take all your money. They got a face that doesn't ever change. So I can ask them questions. They're just going to say it's an open and active investigation. I have no further information on that. I've heard exactly what you've heard. I get the same questions. The Twitter feeds hit me. I understand where we all are, but I cannot confirm anything other than this is an open and active investigation.
when you put somebody through the window off a ladder, will that person be dressed in like a bomb protection suit or something? I mean, that sounds pretty dangerous.
It isn't the safest move to make, given where we are. They will be in our regular PPE. There'll be helmets, breathing apparatus, but I don't even know if there's a bomb-proof suit. Is there, Christian? I don't even know. I am unaware of any focused resources. I believe there's a GoFundMe account that has been established on behalf of the residents. I don't have any access to how to give you information on how to access that, but I do believe that has occurred. I know that there was a group that came out yesterday called Team Farmer, I believe, and within this organization they own pizza, they own Domino's pizza outlets. They brought 45 pizzas to the scene yesterday, so where the residents were having the ability to cool themselves off in a TriMet bus that TriMet brought and left at the scene, they provided some food. So, I mean, unfortunately we had this tragedy, but in the face of this tragedy, you see the community coming together and helping those people that are affected at such a significant level. So if there's something to look forward to on the bright side, is this is bringing Portland together, and we Portlanders are being Portlanders and reaching out and helping our fellow individuals. So we've got the Red Cross establishing the shelter. We've got people providing food. There's a GoFundMe account. I mean, people are doing what they possibly can. But I don't know of anything other than those at the moment.
Do you know where's the Red Cross shelter?
The Red Cross shelter is located at the University of Portland.
Do you know how long people will be able to see
I am unaware of the duration of that. That often is dictated sort of by the size of the event. So small structural fire tends to be a voucher of some sort that allows people to have a certain cash amount to stay in locations that they're able to figure out on their own. So if they're given a voucher for $100, find a $10 room, they got 10 nights. In this case, because of the volume of individuals that are potentially displaced, the Red Cross works with local city government and agencies to acquire locations to house the individuals. This happens to be at the University of Portland at present.
The only other thing I have, the owner was on site earlier. What have you guys learned from him? And as far as the building coming down, it's his responsibility, correct, to make sure this is torn down, and I would assume it's safe and timely.
Yeah, there are timelines put in place. Those timelines have nothing to do with Portland Fire. We address the fire side of this. That is the interaction between Bureau of Development Services and the owner themselves. There will be an engineering report that is required by the owner must have an engineer evaluate the structure to then be able to move forward with what plans there may be. There is always the assumption on the part of the Bureau of Development Services that any owner is going to want to rebuild. So that's the go-to initially. They feel like that's what I guess that's their contingency plan. We're going to go with rebuild first, tear down next. Tear down sometimes takes a little bit of time with permitting, but in situations like this where it's going to be torn down, let's say the engineering report comes back that is unsalvageable and it's dangerous, then there will be an accelerated permitting program rather than a traditional demolition permitting program that can take some time. It's obvious we have a footprint that we're not using at all. We're not letting traffic go by. That will have an effect on people. It has an effect on the local businesses. It has an effect on the traffic. It has an effect on how long it takes people to get to where they want to go, which in this heat also leads people to be grumpy, right? So we all know that there's a timeline that is essential for successful security of our community and this particular site as far as the safety is concerned. So as I said, if it's deemed to be unsafe, there will be an accelerated process. But again, that lies in Bureau of Development Services, and further specifics, you can reach out to them. Their PIO is a wizard. He is a true pro.